Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. And welcome back to the episode of the Funkable Operator Podcast, episode 44. How y'all doing today? Are y'all right, people? The segment of the hip-hop culture, the elements of where you rap and do your own thing. You know, the way that I recommended that you spit like an animal when you need to be on point to rock a funky joint. And that's what you do for the culture of your well-being. You know what I'm saying? Because when you go to the studio, you write your own lyrics and you stay on top of your game the way you should. I'm Jay Funkadelic. The Funkable Operator Podcast, episode 44, shall now begin. Here is the situation with my homegirl, Rosie Perez. I was at an event yesterday, right? And I saw Rosie Perez being interviewed by this boxer champion. I forgot who he was, but, you know, it was a great interview in Dumbo, Brooklyn. I was in Brooklyn last night, and I came to support the people at Madison Square Garden when they had the Wu-Tang Clan concert with Run the Jewels. And I tried to look for you, God, but it started to drizzle outside, and I went home and I took the trains back to my residence. The first figure about the Wu-Tang Clan. How many of y'all remember the RZA, the Jizza? Rest in peace to old dirty bastard. But I heard that Raekwon the Chef is coming out with a brand new album. Since like 30 years ago, he came out with Only Built for Cuban Links, and it was on the purple cassette tape. How y'all remember the purple cassette tape from Raekwon? How many of y'all got that? How many of y'all copped the purple tape from Raekwon, Only Built for Cuban Links? How many of y'all got that? Do you think you have it? I sure you do. Because most of the times, I listen to Wu-Tang every single day. I didn't give a damn about listening to nothing else but underground hip-hop and the old school. You know what I'm saying? The old school's where it's at. But I'm feeling hip-hop that they don't play on the radio. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of old school hip-hop that you might not heard about that I've been listening to on when they don't play it on the radio. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the rappers that get respect. Shout out to all the MCs that get mad love. And for the whole crew, enough respect. Jay Funkadelic is the Funkable Operator. I don't give a damn what nobody say about me. I don't care if you don't like me, you hate me, you ain't feeling my music, you ain't got no talent, and you want to listen to mumble rap. You think people think they're old school podcasts and email your records and you're not even feeling my music. What's that all about? You're not feeling my knowledge and wisdom because you're not in that era. You're not from the 80s. Some of y'all born in the late 80s and the early 90s. I know about what the hell y'all doing because y'all messing my head up when you're not even feeling my music. I've been rapping before you ever existed. You know what I'm saying? I started learning how to rap in 1989. Let's get it straight. I learned how to start rapping in 89. And I tried to eat many words as I can, even if I left high school. You know what I'm saying? Because most of the times, I like to write lyrics. I like to get it on. I like to DJ with underground hip-hop music. And I remain doing it because I represent that Funkville radio. I brought that name back, Funkville. I know it was an old name from somebody, but I put it in the Batman era. You know what I'm saying? I sampled the Batman logo to put the Funkville words inside the bat. When I took the word Funkenville, smashed it into Funkville. Okay, I took that because I love doing the Batman era for the culture. Hip-hop reflects on Batman, we all know. But I'm the first Batman that entered hip-hop before there was a Ricky Batts. Okay, I've been doing my thing before Ricky Batts. You know what I'm saying? Ricky Batts is my man. Shout out to my boy Ricky Batts. You know what I'm saying? I remember I seen pictures on his social media that he met NWA's Ice Cube. You know what I'm saying? Straight out of Compton. Shout out to my man Ricky Batts from knowing about the knowledge and the wisdom of the hip hop culture. Y'all see that when you know he's down with Onyx You know what I'm saying? With the back the fuck up record and the throw your guns in the air and the slam, da da da. Let the boys be boys. You know what I'm talking about on this live. Because Jay Funkadelic is a hip-hop veteran, a journalist, and does what he does from reading those Dr. Seuss books and get ready to climb on the ladder to be on top of the game in the industry. But I don't need to be in the industry so much because rap in the industry is hard to get by to earn money and respect. I pay the producer every time I go to the studio. Every time that I go to the studio and get my tracks done and he analyzes my music and makes the good beats and he cooks with the samples to put a pattern around the samples and he like tears it up and bounces it to disc, then I know he's something to get by. Shout out to my boy King York from Tron Recording Studios that been making my music sound hot as ever. Even though the beats are kind of like good, but I want to make them good, make them sound like it's authentic and real. For the time being that I recommended seeing some things in my mind that I gotta let my feelings out from writing rhymes and spin them in the studio and taking everything by storm. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm a rapper with a lot of knowledge and wisdom. I talk about facts. I don't talk about that BS about you getting the money, about you getting the cars, about you getting the girls. It's all about doing the craft, even if rappers even talk about it to this day. You know what I'm saying? Because all these rappers ain't got no respect, pulling out their guns, acting like studio gangsters, want to be looking like where it came from Eazy-E and NWA or Dr. Dre or MC Ren or DJ Yella, some type of rappers that we know that came out of Compton. You know what I'm saying? Like MC8, that guy, what's his name? Wait, MC8, and, well, I really don't remember his name, but he's on the come up doing a record with MC Ren that was called Lost. And there was a lot of hip-hop I heard from the artists I really didn't know about. You know what I'm saying? From rappers like Nocturnal, Warren G, you know, Teller, you know, all those dudes from South Circle or the Bloods and Crips when they did that record Banging on Wax, or all the West Coast rappers like UDI or Spice One or Too Short from Oakland, California. When shout out to my man Too Short, Sharp Dogs in the house. What up, Loke? You know what I'm saying? A lot of West Coast rappers be using that word Loke. You know what I'm saying? Like they go, oh yay, yay. Ice Cube was the first rapper that ever said that in one of his lyrics. You know what I'm saying? I know Tupac must have did it, but remember when that yay yay came from Ice Cube. It didn't come from Tupac. It came from Ice Cube when he was performing on stage doing America's Most Wanted and the Negro You Love to Hate. You know what I'm saying? Most of y'all rappers don't sound too good, even when, you know, you mumble and you spit lyrics through the weakest beat that you ever try to rap to, and it doesn't make any sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of people are going to be hating on you. A lot of people ain't going to feel your music. A lot of people are going to act stupid. A lot of people are going to be retarded because they're not feeling the music because they're not part of the culture. Even when you're born in 88, you know what I'm saying, you're not going to know about rap. You're not going to know about the old school. But you can learn and do a research before your time. Forget the internet. Go buy some magazines. Go watch television. Go listen to the radio like I did back in the day when I studied a lot of elements in the hip-hop culture. You know what I'm talking about? You realize what I'm talking about on this podcast from the Funkable operator himself. Yes, I'm Jay Funkadelic. You know what I'm saying? The reason why I called my name myself Jay Funkadelic is because rap was funkadelic from the 80s and the 90s. Okay, rap came out from the funk first, way before it came from the trap. But the 90s was the boom bap era, and the 80s was real hip hop stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like Grandmaster Flash, Melly Mel. You know what I'm saying? Grandmaster EST. Grandmaster Flowers, Disco King Mario, DJ Cool Herc, Africa Bambaataa, you know what I'm saying, the Black Spades, the Zulu Nation people, doing it all across the globe, worldwide. Hip hop is the world right now. And hip hop is like $1 billion, $1 trillion industry. Okay? Hip hop is $1 billion, $1 trillion industry that people could know and people don't even know about. If you're really a hip hop fan, put the emojis up. If you're really a hip hop fan, put the emojis up. Knowing that, I recommended that if you know how to spit your bars, write your own shit, and go to the studio, put your fire emojis up. If you know how to spit those flames on a piece of paper and pen. I never ever want to rap on a cell phone. Never write my rhymes on a phone. That is super whack. The only thing you need to do is when you want to learn how you want to write a rhyme, all you got to do is get a pen and a piece of paper. But this is actually a tissue. You could make believe this is a piece of paper. You write your lyrics on a piece of paper, both sides. You put a line to do a second and a third verse. You know what I'm saying? That's how I learned to spit bars the way it should come out. You know what I'm saying? Because every time I write a rhyme, I take the paper, I take the pen, and start writing the whole paragraph of lyrics. The first verse is a long one, and I put a line between the paper. Second, third, done. But you really want to come out with the hook. Okay, when you stop to do your verse, you got to do your choruses. You got to come up with your choruses, or you could sample hip hop from the words that the rappers are saying in their lyrics. You know what I'm saying? Like I sample, I remember doing that record back in 2008 called Connect the Dots with My Infrared. But the record was called My Infrared. And I sampled the Ice Cube part on that song, Nah, I Gotta Wet Ya, off the Predator album, 1992. When he said, gotta connect the dots with my infrared. How many of y'all remember that record from Ice Cube, Now I Gotta Wet Ya? I'm coming to get ya. The nigga with the big fat trigger. Who remembers that record? That was one of the hottest records that Ice Cube ever produced. I mean, and the beat, you know what I'm saying? There was an old cartoon that I sampled, and it was called It was Cops, the TV series, the cartoon series, Cops. And I took, and my man had to chop the sample, and then he had to put in the chorus, gotta connect the dots with my infrared. I was rapping about, police brutality on that record, and people getting killed, people getting angry at the cops, punch them, sick them like a wild pit bull. How much drama can be so terrible? My pad and pen makes a police report, because a white MC like me can't take no shorts. Okay? I learned how to rhyme over some good funky dope beats. Even if I did that Batman NYC, record was dope. When I did Live from the Batcave, and I took that Soulja Boy record, cranked that Batman. Soulja Boy's my man though. Big up to my man Soulja Boy, because I like Soulja Boy. I didn't mean to diss him on one of the records, but some of these rappers that don't come out with good music, I like to change the station. I like to turn off when if I'm not feeling the record. I just change another station. I play Apple Music. I can't listen to Hot 97 anymore. I just can't. I'm very sorry. I just can't do that for that type of reason. For the only reason I don't listen to Hot 97 or Power 105.1. Those stations are really trash to me. Because some of these rappers never spit a dope lyric in their life. Not even like Big Pun or Biggie or Tupac or, people I'm talking about. Rakim, KRS, Kane, Coogee Rap. I heard they're coming out with a hip-hop supergroup. Rakim, Coogee Rap, Big Daddy Kane, and KRS. I can't wait for that to drop. How many y'all MC, how many y'all hip-hoppers out there can't wait for that supergroup to drop? I'm dying to hear that shit. Because that's going to be my top 5 dead or alive hip-hop album. If it wasn't for Big Daddy Kane, Cool G Rap, if it wasn't for L Cool J, if it was for Slick Rick, if it was for Rakim or Public Enemy, or any type of old school rapper, I would not be here talking about hip hop. If it wasn't for Cool Herc, Africa Bambaataa, I don't give a damn where it came from. But did you know before hip hop was born? Before hip hop was born, 2 months before hip hop, my parents got married the same year hip hop was born. Okay? When my parents got married, 2 months later hip hop was invented. Okay, by Cool Herc. It wasn't invented, but it was reinvented by Cool Herc. You know that? Just like when Grandmaster Cash used to say, hip-hop didn't invent anything, but it reinvented everything. Shout out to my boy Grandmaster Cash. He's going to have the Cortona Park Jam tonight in the Cortona Park Amphitheater. Shout out to my boy Grandmaster Melly Mel. Shout out to my man Kichi Dan that's got a hip-hop show called Planet of the Tapes. You know what I'm saying? Big up to Big Jeffrey Boyd. What up, my brother? There's a lot of hip-hop events that are happening in the near future. But the new generation of hip-hop that's got the drill, that got the trap, I'm not even feeling the concert. Because every time I hear that corny rap, I want to leave. I'm not really feeling the music because it's totally garbage. I don't listen to that mumble shit. I don't listen to any type of these dudes that are dead or alive. It didn't matter where it came from. You know what I'm saying? Y'all remember how hip-hop was like graffiti, breakdancing, beatboxing, MCing, DJing, peace, love, unity, and having fun? You know, those were the elements of hip-hop. I must be saying it for that type of reason. And y'all know why I'm doing it. My own spectacular way. Sorry. How many of y'all rappers out there that know about the whole hip-hop culture without even listening to the music that they don't play on the radio? I've been there. I've done that. I studied. I did a lot of research on all these rappers that came out before me and after me. You know what I'm saying? Because the way you want to start hip-hop, you must buy the vinyl, you must buy the CD, and you have to buy the cassettes. Well, the vinyl comes first. The cassette comes next. And the CD. What about the 45s? Those mini records of 45s. How many of y'all have that? How many of y'all have the 45s? Do you remember having the 45 records? The vinyl, the cassettes, the CDs? Way before the MP3s. Because the MP3s are computers. Now we can use MP3s to make CDs and cassettes, and but not vinyl. Vinyl's original. I don't know how to know how to make vinyl. But vinyl's good, even the record doesn't even skip. I have vinyl turntables upstairs. And my mom was watching because she knows about that I have vinyl. Because she got it for me for Christmas. I know my mom was watching right now on my live. Ready to go to Saratoga. Ready to see those horses. You know what I'm talking about? A lot of rappers that don't have no style. If you want to be a rapper, be original. Have that funk in you and just spit those hard bars. Don't be a stupid rapper because you sound kind of corny. You know how to rap. Trust me, you're going to get booed off stage. Because even though when you try to rap, like Harris once said in the Art of Rap movie, he said every time you want to spit your bar, get on the stage, go right at him. Spit your 1 bar, 2 bar, 3 bar, 4 bar, 5 bars, and etc. your bars, and be slick with the wordplay every time you spit that bar. Because, you know, when you're on stage, you know what I'm saying, when you come on stage to perform, like, oh yeah, this is me. No, you're going to get booed. Straight up. The crowd will boo you. you don't know how to rap too good, you sound worse than Lil Wayne, you sound worse than Willie Nelson or Milli Vanilli, you're going to get booed. Trust me. I've been there and done that. Some of these rappers don't respect shit no more. You know what I'm saying? The industry could be really messed up from the time being that you want to like try to learn how to rap and be a dope MC, and you don't know your lyrics and can't be funky enough. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of dudes that don't know how to rap good. You know what I'm saying? Picture the way they always want to talk their SHIT for that type of reason. And they say what they say. You know what I'm saying? Like, the generation of hip-hop is moving a lot faster than it did back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. You know what I'm saying? Who remembers MC Twist? Who remembers MC Brains with the Oochie Coochie? Who remembers Super Lover C and Casanova Rudd? Who remembers the member from the Flavor Unit, Lakim Shabazz? They used to rhyme on records with Queen Latifah was down with the 45 King when he did that 900 number. How do y'all remember that? How many remember the Get Chill Will from the Get Fresh crew that was down with Dougie Fresh? How do y'all remember DJ Howie T that produced records with Special Ed and the Real Roxanne and Chub Rock, as I may say? These are the rappers that were down with DJ Howie T to make some dope ass beats and rhymes. You know what I'm saying? Because the only rapper I really respect that had it made was Special Ed, the youngest in charge. I had the cassette to that. And anybody on this live can tell me if they had the Special Ed album on the cassette, the youngest in charge. What about that guy, DJ Action? But I like that record Action because it was dope. You know what I'm saying? There's a Special Ed record that I like listening to. It's a guy that made Remix, To Think About It, and Never Go Back. That came out in 95. You know what I'm saying? And I like the record from Special Ed called Lyrics, when he sampled the part from KRS-One, when he said lyrics, somebody want lyrics. How do y'all remember that? To be in this offer for you to spit just like Special Ed, that he would say lyrics that he don't know about, that rhymes good, when he was on that Crooklyn hip-hop song, okay, with Buckshot and Master Ace. And there was another version to his Clockers with OC, Chub Rock, and Drill the Damager. You know, shout out to my boy Drill the Damager. Shout out to my boy Brother J from the S-Clan. By the way, Vanglorious is protected by the red, black, and green with our key, sissy. Rest in peace, shout out to my man Professor X, the Overseer. Shout out to my homegirl Isis, Lin Kui, that was making the funkiest record on Rebel Soul. Okay? What up? There's a hip-hop album that is not even on Apple Music called Terminator X and The Godfather's a Threat, super bad. Y'all could download the album and put it on Apple Music if you want. You know what I'm saying? If you're not even copywriting of what he was doing, you know what I'm saying? Like the album was dope. They had a Houdini record called "It's All Comes Down to the Money." But rest in peace. Shout out to my boy Ecstasy from Houdini. Shout out to my boy Jalil and the other members from Houdini, whoever you call them. You know what I'm saying? The 5 minutes of funk, okay? The funky beat, One Love, okay? The Friends. How many members have them? Friends, one we can't depend on. Friends. You know, the only thing that I like listening to is hip-hop from the funk with the King, the Rakim, the joints from EPMD, from straight out of Brentwood, Long Island. You know what I'm saying? Like I be hearing these dudes come out from their own shell to spit dope lyrics and funky lyrics. Like, you know, before my time, when you was watching a Wild Style movie, I remember like watching Grandmaster Caz when he had an afro battling, like, rapping. When he was really rapping from a team that came up straight like a line. And, Wild Style was a good movie. They filmed it in East River Park somewhere with Fat Freddy and all these other dudes that are from the hip-hop culture, from Beach Street, to Breaking, from Breaking 2. You know what I'm saying? How many of y'all remember about the Rhyme Syndicate with Ice-T and Body Count and Africa Islam, DJ Aladdin, Charlie Jam? You know what I'm saying? Like, all these dudes you gotta represent for. If it was for them, y'all people would not be here to this day. Y'all people would not exactly be here to this day if you don't respect the pioneers that came before you. Okay? Shout out to my boy Too Short. He was born in South Central LA, and then he went to Oakland, California, and then the Bay Area. You know what I'm saying? E40's from the Bay, my friend. All right? There's a couple of rappers that I know that was from the Bay Area. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of rappers came out of Memphis. Rest in peace to Young Dolph. Okay? Rest in peace to Nipsey Hussle from Crenshaw. Okay? That was like in the west coast of California. That he had the marathon store and he got shot up. And the brother's doing 6 years life in jail for murdering Nipsey Hussle. He might die in prison. You never know what could happen to that brother. He might get shot and killed in prison. Or they might give him the death penalty from killing one of the best rappers since Snoop Dogg was out with Nipsey Hussle. Hussle's in the house forever. Shout out to my boy KRS-One from being inspired by the teacher and the blast master. I was on I was on a phone with KRS-One talking to my man Ralphie Boy. I remember that. And that FaceTime call was very legendary because Ralphie made me speak to the teacher, and I was so blessed to talk to him and knowing about the knowledge and the temple of hip-hop and all the greats that came before and after him. Well, KRS-One has been out way before I was out. When he did Criminal Minded, when he did By All Means Necessary, when he did Ghetto Music, The Blueprint to Hip Hop, Edutainment, and Sex and Violence. That was the Boogie Down Productions era. Okay? From 86 to 1992, KRS-One was the Boogie Down Production era. And KRS-One was the era from 93 till present. KRS-One did a lot of solo albums since the return of the boom bap days, when DJ Premier, produced one of his dope ass records like Outta Here, Black Cop, The Sound of the Police. You know what I'm saying? All those records were dope. How do you remember y'all knowing about ICU, Jamal Ski, the members of Boogie Down Productions, like Castle D, Miss Melody, Scott LaRock? We all know Scott LaRock is passed. How y'all remember Kwame Torre? I remember, rapping about the Lord of Jesus Christ, knowing about that. I'm really wondering where is my gospel hip hop book went? How did it disappear? I probably must have dropped it somewhere, hidden in my mom's room, or not in my mom's room, but I must hid it in my room when it fall down, looking for a good book to even read. Quite makes sense from that. You know what I'm saying? Quite makes sense about the culture that we all know. Hip hop is a culture that we known about the essence, taking it back to the essence of the eras you've been spitting your bars at. You know what I'm saying? Like watching Pee Wee's Big Adventure. When Pee Wee would play the music in the jukebox, how Joski Love sampled the Pee Wee Herman. You know what I'm saying? Rest in peace to Pee Wee Herman. Joski Love sampled that record years ago, like 40-something years ago. Pee Wee Herman was out. But he sampled that movie. He sampled that tune from Pee-wee's Big Adventure. I remember watching that back in the early 80s. And that was a very good movie. You know what I'm saying? Just like he was in a van telling that Large Marsh sent you. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about rap that you learn from watching Dr. Seuss books. Because Dr. Seuss has been out before the whole hip-hop culture was. Didn't y'all know that for one type of reason that Dr. Seuss made me want to rhyme? And there was other things that made me want to rhyme, just like looking at magazines, the way I take the words and just make it rhyme. You know what I'm saying? The wordplay does the tips and tricks, how to spit better, how to be very lyrical, just like the way you coming up in the rap industry, knowing that you want to be better, knowing that you're a real artist, and try to be a better lyricist. And, you know, rap is something you do. Hip-hop is something you live. If you're not rapping, if you're singing, and then you're doing the smother rap, you're not hip-hop. I'm sorry. And then you want to get mad and take your anger for granted. Y'all, some MCs can't even do that stuff. You're making it hard to comprehend how you want to represent the rap game to the fullest and make yourself look stupid. But shout out to my boys, the Clips. They reunited, Push T and Malice. Okay? I love those guys. They came out with Grinding record. You know what I'm saying? And Hot Damn, It's a New Day. You know, I'm talking about the Clips when they did the Grinding record with Pharrell. When he did the hook. Pharrell Williams was on like a lot of samples. He was a lot of choruses. Not really samples, but on choruses with French Montana and other dudes with Snoop Dogg and etc. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of rappers now you can listen to on all platforms. You know what I'm saying? There's too many rappers want to put their music on every website from TuneCore and DistroKid and making yourself spit like people want to hear your music and they don't check you out because they're not even feeling you. You know what I'm saying? You have to have a set of fans and your own team and to listen to your stuff, thinking you're the shit and know that you're hot enough to be on top of your rap game. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of things I like to talk about on this podcast that meant something by the words that are coming out of your mouth and how you want to like write your stuff and spitting those flames in the booth, making sure it's propaganda. Even if you mess up like 20,000 times, you can do it over and over till you get that stuff right. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you put commas the way you want to rhyme or dots or commas. It doesn't even matter how you do it, like underscores, to like learn how to write your own rhymes. Make it, the bars could be the underscores, the commas, and the dots. When you want to make it rhyme, you put the comma. The way I rhyme, every time I write a bar, I want to put a comma and make the comma want to rhyme. If I put the next bar in to do a comma, third bar, okay. Let me say this right. 1 bar, 1 comma. 2 bar, 2nd comma. 3 bar, 3rd comma. And you gotta make the bars rhyme with the commas. You don't make the bars rhyme with the commas, you're not making any sense. Your rhymes are not making any sense. Okay? For an example, when you want to write a rhyme, you're like, I'm trying to make my rhymes sounds like it makes sense. And if I can't wait, hold on a second, I said it wrong. Hold on. Let me get my mind straight to say this. My rhymes I have to say has to make a lot of sense. And if I don't know how to rap, my mind can be very intense. That's how you got to do it to make you sound better. Because the wordplay in your mind has to go on the pen and the piece of paper. You know what I'm talking about? The reason why we all freestyle off the head. That's what we all do. You know what I'm saying? We can have bars in the brain that comes to the pen and the piece of paper. You know what I'm talking about? You know how realistic, you know how realistic this shit is? Do I want to rhyme and just trying to be on point with the lyrics? Did I say it took me time to do this? It didn't even happen overnight. I try to rhyme better, the battle rap. I try to better to be dope and dope, to be taking it all the way on top of the mountain to be dope. Look at Eminem, how dope he was. Look at KRS-One. Look at Jadakiss. Take it to those guys. Look how Big Pun and Big L and Nas did their rhymes to keep climbing up the ladder to be very dope. You know what I'm saying? And they did it before me, and they were born before me. You know what I'm saying? Because that part of the studio time was a culture in the 80s and 90s era. You know what I'm saying? Nas business has been out since 1994. Jim Jones has been out like 2003. You know what I'm saying? When he came out with the Dipset album, Diplomatic Immunity or something like that. Well, Jim Jones has been out 2004 with his own solo album. Nas has been out way before Jim Jones. And Nas sold a lot of records way before Jim Jones did. I don't really like what Jim Jones is doing now, because Jim Jones is saying he's a better rapper than Nas. I don't think that is possible from the situation that I say that. Because I had Nas cassette tape way before I bought a Jim Jones CD. Way before that. Okay? So don't even think that Jim Jones is better than Nas. Jim Jones is not better than Nas. Blank it out of your mind and take it out of your head. Get it from me. You know what I'm saying? Nowhere it came from before his time. Okay? Nas has been spitting bars since 1992 when he did Live at the Barbecue with Akinelli and Large Professor, and then he came out with the MC Search joint with Chubb Rock, Red Hot Lover Tone, Back to the Grill Again, the Grill Again. How many of y'all remember MC Search, the rapper that was out when he was down with Prime Minister Pete Nice and DJ Daddy Rich when he was third base? You know what I'm saying? A lot of people call me MC Search because back in the day, because I looked like him. But now, you know, MC Search looks different. You know what I'm saying? He has the same style. His hair got a little short, but it didn't matter. You know, MC Search is older than me. He became before me, MC Search, when he came out with the Cactus CD and the Cactus album, when he did the records, the Gas Face, Step Into the AM, Wars of Wisdom, the Cactus, Jim Backus, and he did Flipping on the Wall of Lucille Ball and Monty Hall and Triple Stage Darkness and Proc the Environment. You know what I'm talking about? And the first intro sounded like the Little Rascals and this Siamese theme, Sons of Third Base. You know what I'm saying? Russell Rush. You could say that too. But they were out on Def Jam. The first rapper that ever been out on Def Jam record was not Cool J, it was Tila Rock. When he did It's Yours. You know what I'm saying? Know your history. Know where I'm coming from. First was Tila Rock. Then L Cool J. The first female rapper on Def Jam was not Foxy Brown. It was Nikki D. When she did that record, Daddy's Little Girl, and on record with Flavor Flav, Letting Off Steam. I remember the time I seen her on Living Color and with Don Cornelius on Soul Train. How do I remember that for a change when I was watching, you know, Soul Train back in the early 90s when they had Nikki D on stage singing Daddy's Little Girl, sample from Tom's Diner. You know what I'm saying? She took that Tom's Diner beat and made it Daddy's Little Girl. You know what I'm saying? That was one of the dopest records I ever heard. Even Letting Off Steam was a dope record also. You know who needs his flowers? Professor Griff and Luke Skywalker. Professor Griff, that came out in the early 90s, early 1990, when he did Pawns in the Game. You gotta respect rappers like Professor Griff and Uncle Luke, and you gotta respect the rappers that came out way before you did. You gotta respect a rap group called Two Live Crew And you gotta respect a lot of original MCs that came before your time. Shout out to my boy Rod the Rugged Man. Shout out to Second to None. You know what I'm saying? Shout to the Rotten Rascals that were here after Law by Nature promoted them. Who would know about the Rotten Rascals? Who would know about Naughty by Nature with Tretch, KG, and Vinny? That came out with other people's property, known as OPP, and Hip Hop Array and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Doing this thing to make the culture living larger from saying Hip Hop Array, ho. I remember watching the video when Latif from One Love was in the video, and then it had a part of Eazy-E in it. You know what I'm saying? That was the golden age of the early 90s of hip-hop music when I heard it back in 1993. And then Pete Rock did, and CL Smooth was like, they reminisce over you. But he did an EP called Also That when he did that hip-hop banger, The Creator. You know what I'm saying? I'm not really hearing that radio on the much anymore because a lot of people are sleeping on a lot of hip-hop records. A lot of DJs are sleeping on a lot of hip-hop records that I know about and y'all don't even know about. A lot of people are not getting the credit that they need to like go hip-hop worldwide. I don't care what record you play, but play some records that people never heard in years. So they can reflect back on their memories. Put these people in a time machine. You know, go in the Mixcloud, make a hip-hop mix. Make a hip-hop mix about putting yourself in the time machine back in the 80s and 90s. And just play hip-hop that you don't know about. You can download on YouTube and you can't even play on, they don't even play on the radio no more. You know what I'm saying? Take it back to the Marley Marl, Mr. Magic rap attack. Take it back to In Control Rap Show. Take it back to Red Alert and Kiss FM. Take it back to DJ Chuck Chill Out. Okay, on the Wheels of Steel. Take it back to those days. Take it way back when all the DJs that played that real hip hop. Take it back to WBAU. Take it back to 105.9 Pirate Radio, wherever the hell you call it. Because hip hop is going to be there forever and ever till the day we all die. Okay? Even when KRS One said 50 more years of hip hop, that year would be 2073. It would be 50 more years that most of these rappers are alive right now. They'll be dead in their graves. Because a lot of rappers are going to speak from heaven like hip hop is the next 50 years from 2073. Huh. Well, rap started, hip hop was the birth from August 11, 1973 on 1520 Cedric Avenue. And then all of a sudden you would hear hip hop 50 years later and they rocked when I was at Yankee Stadium. And, you know, like Run DMC came out when I left. They had Nas and Lauryn Hill. They had a lot of rappers doing their thing in Yankee Stadium. And I was sitting in the front row dancing like an ape. Okay, I was jamming to a lot of good stuff. Even if it was dope. I like when all the rappers came out and really represented the hip-hop culture to the fullest. You know what I'm talking about? A lot of rappers out there right now, you know, they sound very corny. They don't know how to spit a dope lyric in their entire life, what I even see it. You know what I'm saying? You would listen to hip-hop from New Zealand and South Africa or Canada. Some of these rappers could be good even if hip-hop came out of Russia. You know what I'm saying? Like, it came out of Germany or any other state. You know what I'm saying? It didn't matter. You would be dope if you listen to hip-hop, Christian hip-hop, or hip-hop that you could read gospel books and rap about the Lord Jesus. Jeremiah 3:31. You could rap about the knowledge in the gospel about all the rappers that came way before you did. You know what I'm saying? You gotta respect all the old pioneer DJs, the founding fathers of the whole hip-hop culture. Just like Colt the Rock and Curtis Blow and King Tim III. Because if it was for King Tim III, you will never hear an Arabian Rakim record. if it was for King Tim the Third. You would not hear an Arabian Rakim record. Nowhere. Ever. You know what I'm talking about? You would not even get... If there wasn't a Sugar Hill Gang, if there wasn't a Grandmaster Cass, if there wasn't a Cold Crush Brother, if it wasn't for Melly Mel, Africa Bambaataa, if it was for Kool Herc, y'all would never have the hip-hop culture. Y'all would never have it. It would not exist. The reason why it's not exist because those people didn't like created hip hop like they did back in 1973. You know what I'm saying? Like when Kool Herc making hip hop records sound like it goes like a merry-go-round. You know what I'm talking about? Like hip means to know. You know, hop means you gotta hop up and do it. Just like KRS-One did it on the Hip Hop Lives song. You know what I'm saying? Because the hop is the movement. You got to hop up and do it. You know what I'm saying? All you got to do when you rap, you got to hop up and do it. You got to hip and then you got to hop up and do it. Get the mic, start spitting your bars. Make those flames come on the mic. And you spit louder than a siren. You know what I'm saying? And you want to really command the crowd to do your own thing. All right. I'm Jay Funkadelic, y'all. The Funkable Operator Podcast, episode 44. I'll see y'all next time. Peace.